guess.
Not from you, I hope.
Hello and welcome to another episode of the Jaw Dropping Podcast. I'm here with the wonderful Will.
Hi, mate.
And of course, John as well. Hello, John.
All right, fella.
How's it going?
Yeah, not too bad.
Brilliant.
Yeah, it's all right, mate. It's all right.
Yeah, we've had a good week. We're recording on Sunday though, rather instead of Saturday today.
All right.
Brilliant. Right, we're going to start off with a few interesting facts. Stuff that you might know, stuff that you may not know. A lemon is 70% sugar, while a strawberry is only 40%.
So why is it so acidic, a lemon then? Because it's got acid in it.
Yeah, because it's got more citric acid.
Imagine.
Did you say 70% sugar?
Yeah.
Surely it has to be more water than it is sugar.
Oh yeah. Or acid. Maybe it has to be more acid than sugar.
I don't know, because surely it's citric acid that is within it.
Yeah.
And I don't know what the chemical composite of citric acid is, but presumably that has some form of sugars in it, maybe.
Well, it must do.
I think it's because whereas strawberries will generally have like fructose and sucrose in it.
Fucking fructose and sucrose.
Yeah.
Come on now, you're making me horny. Simmer down.
They're types of
20 to
sugar.
12 in the morning, pal.
And they taste really sweet. Whereas I think in lemons they have different
they
types of sugar that make it taste, along with the citric acid, make it.
Imagine
taste
if a
bitter.
lemon was actually full of like LSD. Imagine how high you'd get.
Speaking of LSD, I will come on to a fact about LSD.
I'm sorry, I've got to go back. Imagine that lemon was full of LSD. Imagine if fucking anything was full of LSD. You're going to get really high, aren't you?
Yeah, I think the one thing that I wouldn't want to eat
True.
just to get high would be a
Is
lemon.
LSD.
No,
I don't know.
It would be a lemon.
I've eaten worse things to get high. I've eaten ass just for a bag.
Brilliant.
Oh,
So
dear.
the gravity. This is the next fact. The gravity is so low on the moon that humans could walk on water.
No.
Oh, that's cool.
That is
Maybe
very
that's where
cool.
Jesus was.
Hang on, but
Yeah, maybe.
hang on, that's bollocks. Because if the gravity is that low, then surely the water wouldn't actually stay on the moon. Do you know what I'm saying?
It's actually
Would it
not the
float
most
up?
ridiculous point, because astronauts, when they go onto the moon, don't they have to be weighed down by their kit and by things, by their spacesuits?
Yes, yeah.
Otherwise, they'd just float off. So, in theory, you wouldn't be able to walk on anything.
No, because the moon
Yeah, that's
does have its own gravity. It's just really, really low.
Yeah.
Whereas
But
if you-
even with all that kit off, they bound about, don't they? And
Yeah.
sort of, even when they're walking, they're like semi-jumping.
Yeah.
Surely, if you took all that kit off, you'd just jump and you'd just float out.
Yeah. 100%.
Surely there's not enough gravity to
pull you back.
pull you back down.
or you'd end up in your own orbit around the moon, right?
I suppose you probably would at a certain point, yeah.
Yeah.
So that's what I'm saying, but you couldn't test that because the water wouldn't stay on the moon either.
No, because if you had like a large body of water, it would probably be a bit more loose in the way that it flowed. It wouldn't flow the way that it would on Earth.
It would just be like a big jelly.
Potentially,
space.
yeah.
But that is quite a cool fact. I quite like that.
Yeah,
So on the moon,
it's a thinker.
that would mean like if there was water on the moon, you'd be Jesus. Because only he could walk on water. Maybe the Bible's wrong. Maybe the Bible was written on the moon. Maybe the moon used to be like Earth. And there was a man that walked on water on the moon. And that was Jesus. Just saying.
I mean,
Some
you're
theory.
you're playing pretty hard and loose with the word maybe there, I think, John.
Yeah.
And then they just fucking threw the Bible to Earth when they realised the asteroid was coming. And that's how we got the Bible.
When they
There you
realised,
go.
when do you think the Bible was written, John?
The
because
asteroid
we-
was coming. What asteroid are you on
The
about?
Bible is still being written. The Bible
Is it?
is still... Yeah, because...
By who?
But this is the thing, yeah. Who decided when the saints stopped? This is the thing about the Bible that gets
No,
me.
but saints still continue.
Yeah, that's what I mean.
Made sense today.
Yeah.
So
But
why is
they're
there?
not continuing to write the Bible?
That's what I mean. So why is there only one Bible? There should be like
'cause it was-
Bible Volume 1, and why has no one now written Bible Volume 2 with
the
all
actual
the
Bible, the Bible that you have in like the church that is like this is not the actual size of the Bible. The actual size of the Bible is like it's in huge volumes.
Yeah, well, that's what I'm saying. So why there hasn't been a Volume 2020, has there?
No, it's not like the almanac. They don't bring one out every year.
Well, that's what I'm saying. So why did it just end?
Because there was only 12 apostles, wasn't there?
Well, see, that's bollocks. There was more than 12 apostles, surely. Who decided there was 12 apostles? The Bible.
No, the apostles decided there was 12 of them because there was 12 of them.
Okay, well, I'm an apostle. I'm the 15th apostle. There you go.
Who
Right
were
about me.
the 13th and the 14th?
Steve Jobs. And Barry
Jimmy
White.
Savile.
Barry White. Oh, shit.
I have to
Wow, I
ask.
suppose they were all pedos there.
I have to ask John. What
Yeah.
do you think makes someone a saint?
They do really good shit for people, like Jesus cured blindness and walked on water. St. John the Baptist baptized motherfuckers. And what? Give me another one. St. Paul.
Yeah.
St. Paul had a fight with his dad over a Corsa. He was dropped. Fuck.
Right, what I'm going to do very quickly,
Yeah.
I'm going to type in the most recent saints.
Mother Teresa was a saint.
Yeah, okay, so I'm just going to try. So,
Was the Mona
these
Lisa
were
a
like
saint?
really fucking ancient people, aren't they? Mother
See?
Teresa was a saint. This is true.
Was the Mona Lisa a trait? A trait? Fucking saint.
The Mona Lisa was is a painting.
Yeah,
John.
but was she a painting of a saint?
No, she was just a woman.
See, who was the Mona Lisa? This is what I don't get. So why
She
is
was
that
just a woman. They
painting?
needed someone to paint her. There's actually 3 Mona Lisas. There's 3 of them, and they were all painted by different artists. However, the one that is most valuable and most recognised is the one that was.
Did they have
painted
like
by...
some sort of competition? Who could draw the best woman, and then they were like, "Tell you
Well,
what,
no,
this
because
one's gonna be
back
worth a
then you
fuckload."
couldn't just take a photo
Yeah.
and then you just have loads and loads and loads and loads of the same picture. Once you painted it, that is it. There's only one. Unless you can recreate that picture exactly as it is, there's only one.
Yeah. So
that's
who
why they
was
had
she
to-
though?
I think she was just some woman that they got to paint.
Like some milkmaid that used to milk cows.
I'm not really sure about that one, John.
I honestly don't know, mate. I'll have a look for you, and
I'm
I'll...
almost sure that someone tried telling me that it was a picture of a man at the start. There's a hidden face, like she's not the original. Apparently, like there was some sort of conspiracy where it had been repainted over. There's a second face in it.
I think there is a theory of that. Yeah. According to Wikipedia, the painting is likely of the Italian noblewoman Lisa Gherardini, the wife of Francesco del Giocondo.
Oh, mate, that just sounds sexual. Bioncondo,
Francesco
Italiano.
del Giocondo.
Where is my parmesan on my pizza?
That reminds me of Inglorious Bastards, where he's like, a Dominic de Coco. A Dominic de
Such a
Coco.
good film, mate. Such a good
I don't
film.
think I've seen it.
Oh my
mate,
god,
it's
Alex.
class.
Have you watched
What's that
Snatch
shit?
No, I
Yeah.
haven't.
You need to sort your life out, mate.
No, I do.
You've had all this time off, and all you keep doing is gaming, which is fair enough.
Yeah.
But you need to brush up on your film
I
history.
just get very lonely all on my own.
I bet you do.
Watch a film.
That's what
I'll
your
show you
right hand's for, pal. Yeah.
Yeah, I can only do so much of that in one day. Tanks
Well, then
are
start
empty.
using your left. His balls are the size of peas right now.
Yeah.
That's all he's been doing.
Firing blanks now. Right, do you want the first news story?
Go on then.
Okay, the first news story is that a couple got a surprise when their cat gave birth. Why do you
Oh,
think?
Steve, I saw this. Is this from this week?
I think it was this week. Yeah, it was this week.
Is this the one that was born with 2 heads?
Yeah, the cat was
And
born.
So they said one can meow while the other ones can eat.
Yeah,
That's something. I
the
read the
kitten
article.
was born with two faces.
Two faces.
And working faces. So you can feed through either mouth, and they can feed at the same time. They can meow at the same time, and also one can feed whilst the other, meows, which I think is the most ridiculous thing ever. Have you seen this, Will?
Yes, I saw this. Whether it's the same one that I have seen, I don't know, because the one that I saw was a while ago. But it is literally as if the two faces are connected, like next to each other. It's a very peculiar looking animal.
I'll tell you what, though, but if out in the wild, if they were still back in day being beasts, they would have the one up on everyone. Because the one could eat while looking out the corner of the eye to see this, like, if another motherfucker was trying to jack him. Do you know what I'm saying?
But I think the point
I reckon that cat in real life would die almost instantly.
Yeah, they don't live very long, I don't think.
Why is that?
Well, because the mother would probably shun it, most likely.
What? It looks weird.
Yeah.
Well, to be fair, I'd probably shun it and all. To be fair,
yeah, because rabbits do it a lot. If that's why there's like the runt of the litter is always kicked out of the thing, because only the biggest and strongest survive, so they kick the.
I don't know whether
it
would
would
be able to actively feed, because obviously with a human putting a bottle down its neck, it's going to be able to feed, but whether the two faces would be able to work out how to
which face
feed naturally
to suckle on, I don't know.
It might struggle.
Yeah, it's so strange. Because is it one brain or has it got two brains?
Oh, I ain't got a clue, mate.
Oh, it's called Kitten's Biscuit and Gravy.
Yeah, biscuits and gravy.
Oh,
What? So the
one's called Biscuit, one's called Gravy.
how can you call it a different thing? It's the same animal.
Because it's got two heads. But that's what I'm saying. Has it got the same brain, mate? This is what I'm saying. Because if it had the same brain, imagine you had another face like that, and you could see. You had these two eyes that could look that way, and these two eyes that could look that way, and you can control both. That's pretty fucking scary.
But you could say different things out of different sides of your head.
That's so crazy, mate. Honestly, that's so fucking messed up. It's like them two. Do you see the girls with the two heads on one body?
Yeah,
they're conjoined
they made
twins, right?
They made a porno, mate.
Did they really?
Because some people get really interested to that shit. Yeah, I'm sure they did. Otherwise, my messed up mind's just made that up. I will Google it now.
I'm not sure that's true. I hope it's not true. Like, don't get me wrong, my estimation of the human race is pretty bloody low at the moment, but surely we didn't make the conjoined Indian twins do a porno.
No, they weren't Indian. They weren't Indian. I'm not on about the Indian ones. It was Abby and Brittany. That must be so bonkers to have another head coming out the same body, and you'd be like, how would that work? Well, but even like arguments, like surely, eventually, what was that film where Matt Damon and that geezer was it Owen Wilson and Matt Damon? And they were conjoined twins. That was a quality film. They get cut in half in the end, and it really gets sad because obviously they were joined down the back and they get cut in half, and then I think they were action stars as well. They were like stunt doubles. And in the end, they get a big T-shirt and put themselves back together because they miss each other.
Well, I like how we went from the cute, kitten that was born with two faces to Siamese twin porn, and surprisingly quickly that convoluted to there.
That's just the way my mind works, mate. Do you know what I mean? It's just the way my mind works.
It was surprisingly quick, but in the same breath, I was not surprised at all.
Yeah, no.
Oh, Christ. Right, so let's go for some more interesting facts. This is more from the medieval. So we've got some medieval facts for you.
I love medieval facts.
Yeah. So archery practice was compulsory in Britain.
See, I'd say that's probably fair enough because I think that is the same as what's it when you have to do military. What's that called? Like in other countries,
conscription.
They have to do military service for 2 years.
Yeah, they do it in South Africa, don't they?
Yeah, I think I personally think we should have done that as well here. I think you should be.
So you come out of school, everyone does 2 years in the military.
Yeah, I quite like that, and I imagine that's what the archery thing was for. Because back in day, they were always going to war. I mean, they had a war over the fucking Hastings. You know what I mean?
You got to remember that back in the day, that's how they also caught food.
Exactly.
Probably more. It's kind of the equivalent of learning to drive, I would imagine, Because
Yeah,
if
I
we don't
suppose.
drive, probably, obviously you can go and get food without driving, but, it's equivalent to sort of like a day-to-day skill like that. It doesn't surprise me at all. I don't know, because they wouldn't have had back in the day, like, schools for the majority of people. And so it was probably just something that a family would teach. It's kind of, I would imagine it's as basic as learning to drive or
Well, you pretty much just
life
once
skill.
you were
basically.
born, you if there wasn't really a school, was there? You were just sort of taught how to live, I suppose.
Yeah, and you'd go into the family business basically. So if if your family were, I don't know,
tailors,
made weapons or tailors, or
an enclosed pen
or something like that, then you'd go into that.
Yeah,
and if they were
that would be because
hunters,
you'd learn
how
off your.
to hunt.
Some people were fruit pickers. Some people were hunters. Do you know what I mean? I reckon I'd have been a fruit picker.
Well, your second name, you would have been like a sheep or cow or something, because Hayes is for an enclosure or pen, isn't it?
Yeah, or it's what was the other one?
The Irish God of Fire or whatever it was.
There you go. That's what it was. The Irish God of Fire.
Mine was definitely to do with fabric working,
making linen. And what was Jefford?
Linen. It's a
Jefford
French one.
Yeah, it's a Norman one. It's not particularly, although apparently it has something to do with the word that meant chin.
Chin. I wish it was something
chin.
to do with nose, mate, because that fucking made me.
Brilliant. Okay.
All right, I might have to look it up and make sure it isn't nose.
Oh, please be nose.
Next medieval fact.
Oh no, this is it.
Oh.
I'm sorry, Alex. I've got to interrupt. This is it. You're going to love this, right? This is the second possible origin of Jefford. It's from the Old French Gifford, used as a nickname for someone thought to be chubby-cheeked.
Oh shit! Gelatinous.
So Jefford is perhaps from the origin of someone who has chubby cheeks.
There you go.
So not a big nose, John, I'm afraid, but chubby cheeks.
Chubby cheeks.
I feel like I have to put a disclaimer that the big nose comment isn't about me. It's about my brother who has a massive nose.
Shout out to Joe, like a legend.
Brilliant. Right,
I think we've mentioned him in every podcast. Let's just bring him on.
Oh yeah,
be in this
him on
podcast.
Next weekend. Let's get him in.
Okay, I'm getting him in.
We'll get him on. Okay, so next medieval fact: medieval shoes could be up to 2 feet long.
What?
Well, yeah, it's one
How
foot
would that work?
on your right foot and 1 foot on your left foot. That's 2 feet long, isn't it? Hey.
Yeah.
Fine, don't worry about it, guys.
Dum.
So it was because from the 1330s onwards, men considered long-toe shoes to be the height of fashion. And by the late 14th century, they'd got so long that they were reinforced with wool, moss, or whalebone, and nobles had to tie the ends to their leggings in order to get around.
Mate, well, that imagine if you were about to be mugged and someone not that rich had smaller shoes than you, and you had fucking, let's call it, skis on your feet.
Yeah.
Have you ever tried to run in skis, mate? It ain't happening.
Mm.
So what?
I agree. It doesn't.
And it said, and crusaders had to cut off the tips of the shoes in order to be able to run away from the enemy.
There you go. So were they like elf shoes? Did they curl up like this?
Yeah, they either curled
spin
round or curled up, and they had to tie them to their legging. Just mental. Next unbelievable fact: medieval England was virtually empty.
Hang on, I'm still on the shoe.
I can only imagine that the population of England back then would have been very, very low.
So
I would imagine
1086, there were just under 1 million people living in England.
There was what? In when?
In 1086.
There was how many?
Just under 1 million people living in England.
1086. So that was 20 years after the Battle of Hastings.
Yeah.
Fucking how many people died? Jesus, imagine that.
Compared with the 53 million there are today.
How many people do you reckon were alive before the Battle of Hastings, John?
Like 20 million? I don't know. It sounds like a big battle. If they're making adverts about it, even to this day, 0800 00 1066. And what was the Battle of Hastings actually over? And if there was only 1 million people in England at the time, what the fuck were they fighting over? Surely there's enough land in between for them to just, is that why castles were just like so far apart and just on hills?
Yeah, because they were governed. That's where the whole states or counties came from. You'd have like the county of certain areas, and the king would rule over all of them. But before that, it was just we've built a castle here. We're going to take all of this land because we have a strategic point in the centre of this land.
Is that why it was like Warden of the North, Warden of the West, and then you'd have the king that was like Game of Thrones.
Yeah,
you had big houses instead
in the
of
seven
cities.
kingdoms. Yeah,
basically, that's not too far away from probably what it was like.
It
was basically
cities.
It was basically the French beginning an invasion into the UK, pretty much.
What, the Battle of Hastings?
Yeah, pretty much. Yeah.
Oh, so the French come over here trying to take our shit?
Yeah, the Normans did, and succeeded fairly.
How did they win?
Happily. Yeah.
So how did we get it back?
Don't know.
Don't
know. I ain't a historian.
Part of the 100 Years' War, was it, or am I thinking of it?
No idea. Absolutely no idea.
Was Napoleon in 1066?
No.
No. Okay. Different era. All right. Fair enough.
Yes.
Yeah.
That's history for you.
Yeah, it is.
What is Napoleon now? Napoleon's
an ice cream.
No, I'm sure it's canned tomatoes. Napoleon.
It might be, yeah.
You
might be right.
Canned Italian tomatoes, which is weird because he was French and little. Actually,
they come in the black can, don't they?
Apparently, yeah. Apparently, he wasn't little, but he was found under a car
Oh,
did you hear this?
Brilliant.
Yeah.
They
found his body like
Who,
4 years ago. Napoleon, wasn't it?
No, it wasn't Napoleon. You're thinking of
Arthur,
I can't think what his name is. It was a Richard I think it was Richard the Second, was it?
No,
God, that could well be wrong. Yeah, he was found in a car park in Leicestershire.
King found in car park
in Leicestershire. It wasn't too far away from where the
grew up. Oh, you were close. It was Richard III.
Richard III, there you are.
As if he was just found in a car park. That just makes me think, like, fucking hell, what's under my house? Like, what king's under my house? Look, he was just, you want to see it? He is literally, it's just a car park next to a factory.
Yeah.
And they dug it up and they were like, oh, there's body here. And it turns out, how do they know it's Richard the bloody Third? That could have been Jeff. Dental records? Could have
been written on the coffin, maybe. I don't know.
I seem to remember, and I don't quote me on this, and I can't remember exactly, but I seem to think that they had tracked him down, and they did believe that he was in that area, and there was a reason for why they
dug the
thought
car park.
that he was going to be under that car park. I think they might have done some sort of like geological scan or something like that saw that there was sort of like the presence of a building, and perhaps he was buried with something that would suggest that he was a king.
I love that shit, mate. It fascinates me. I'm looking at it now.
There's a great
I love archaeology.
on it, mate.
Is there?
There's a really good documentary on it. Yeah.
Oh, I love that shit. Because wasn't he little, Richard III? Was he the little one, or am I don't know. I'll watch it and I'll
find it. I think it was all to do with them digging him. It's a TV movie. Richard III, the king in the car park.
There you go. I'll watch that. Yeah. I love that shit.
Yeah, it's a really good one. It's a really good one.
So the last one is animals could be tried for and convicted of crimes. Some of the most well documented ones. Some mice were publicly tried for stealing part of the harvest, and in another case,
you what?
Yeah.
Oh, whoa! I'm not having that. Some fucking mice were lined up in public, and what they do? Put little fucking strings around their neck and flick them off a brick so they hung. I'm just not having that at all. You can't publicly try a fucking mouse.
Wait, the best one. And in another case, a swarm of locusts was convicted of eating crops, and they didn't even bother to show up to the court to defend themselves.
Yeah, surprise. How do you? There's 10,000 locusts in a swarm?
How much time and effort was put into putting that case together? Imagine going to the magistrate or whatever they had back in day. Was like, oh yeah, we got some flies down the road that keep eating all our crops, or they're just being a general nuisance. I think they should go to jail. and then doing this whole thing, going through it all. What was the outcome? Did the locusts listen? Did they ever come back?
Probably not.
Were they shot on sight when they came back?
Do you imagine doing that?
Just shooting into the air, not caring what's behind them. But no, I'm not having it. Why? Why can animals be tried? Tell me. Do you know why?
That was just part of the law. There are records of animals being taken to court for killing people.
But did they believe in reincarnation? Did they think these people, they were like old spirits of people? I don't know.
I mean, maybe we should take the bats that cause coronavirus to court and see what they have to say about themselves.
I'm not having this. I've just done a quick Google search. Are you recording, Alex? Because
I'm recording.
I'm not having it, mate. Listen to this one. This is on the first page. So there's an illustration on here. And it says, illustration from Chambers' Book of Days depicting a sow and her piglets being tried for the murder of a child.
What?
A sow. I don't fucking know. It's a pig. A mother pig.
A female pig is a sow, yeah.
Right. And her piglets being tried for the murder of a child. The trial allegedly took place in 1457. The mother being found guilty and the piglets were acquitted. Come on.
Does it explain how the child died?
Well, I guess it got eaten because pigs are savages, aren't they? Here, let me go on it. Let me click on it. Let's have it. Let's go down the rabbit. Oh, fucking, here we go. So, right, commonly tried animals.
Dogs.
Yeah, it was often pigs, bulls, horses, and cows, and pests such as rats and weevils. I've never even heard of a weevil.
Weevils. Are they in like crops?
Here you go. That's why.
They're like insects. They're like tiny little insects that eat crops.
Creatures that were suspected of being familiar spirits. So that's what they thought it was. They thought it was
reincarnation
of people, or complicit in acts of bestiality. Were also subjected to judge. Hang on, it's not the animal's choice to get fucked by a person. You can't then kill the animal. They used to burn them at the stake. Though few, if any, ever faced trial. I'm sorry. So why is it legal? In 1457, they didn't know what the fuck was going on, did they? They had no clue. What a
but
time
that was
to
the
be
norm. I meant to say this because this is the one where, you're talking about LSD.
Yes.
So a medieval bread could get you high or could even kill you.
Wow, I believe that because the yeast would have been that potent where it had been left out in the sun and left to ferment that you probably would trick bulls back in the day. They didn't have any clue.
What was it made out of?
Mushrooms.
So the stored rye that they used to make the flour and to make the bread with was frequently infected with ergot, which is a fungus that has LSD-like qualities. That caused hallucinations, gangrene, and in extreme cases, death.
Gangrene.
Bloody hell. Imagine coming out for lunch and being like, I really fancy a cheese toasty here. And sort it all out, and you take one bite, and all of a sudden you're seeing fucking colours and swirls or spiders' webs, and you're like, not sure this is alright,
Is it the cheese that's off or the bread?
You come home after a hard day's graft, you're like, oh, fancy a bit of toast. Pop a bit of bread in toaster, and then you start going to Mars.
Because that's where blue cheese originated from, is that because they used to sweeten rotting food or gone off food so that you couldn't taste that it had gone off. That's where blue cheese came from, because blue cheese is infected with mould.
Well, yeah.
Which gives it
cheese is mould.
Yeah, kind of. Yeah.
There's no kind of about it. It's fucking mold.
Cheese is mould.
Well, it is. Come on. Let's not get into the debate of it. I'm telling you, it's fucking mouldy cheese, all right?
What, blue cheese?
Or
just cheese in general? Cheese is mould.
Yes.
So that's a statement that you stand by, is it, John?
Yes.
Cheese is mould.
Here we go. I'll Google it. Don't make me get the definition of cheese. I've done a lot of Googling today. I feel like some whiz kid. Oh my God, I've got to talk to you about something. If you haven't yet already listened to Joe Rogan's podcast with the second one with Elon Musk, you need to listen to it, mate, because what he is saying is scary. What he's making at the minute. Have you heard it? The Neuralink.
Honestly, mate, it's sad to say, I don't really listen to the Joe Rogan podcast.
Oh, the Neuralink that Elon Musk is making at the minute. He said he's probably 2 years away from making it. It's he cuts out a square in your skull, puts in this little thing. It's got it's not even nano wires. They're tiny, tiny wires.
Yeah.
And what it's going to do, say if you're blind, it will give you sight back. If you're paralyzed, it will help you move again, like fully. And he said, like, once they've got past that trial, like that's what they're going to start doing first, is fixing it. It will be able to fix anything wrong with the brain. So it will fix Alzheimer's, all this shit.
Yeah.
And once he's got past that stage, they're going to start using it to be a Neuralink with humans and link up other humans. And you'll have complete access to the internet. He said you won't even have to talk anymore. I was just like, no. I had to turn it off, mate. I had to turn it off. It fully blew me.
Do you think that would be a good thing, though, John?
No, absolutely. Reality. That scares the shit out of me, mate.
And is that purely on sort of just a fear factor, or is that morality as well? Do you think that morally
I think it's a bit of
be able
both.
To do that?
But he made a fair point. He said we are already, what was it, symbiotic.
Yeah.
We're like almost. He said it's the data rate between technology and us that makes it so slow. That's the only. He says we are already cyborgs pretty much because we've got smartwatches, we've got phones, we're constantly on our phones.
Yeah.
Like if you lose your phone, you're constantly like, oh shit, what am I going to do now? He says it's the data rate between getting the information from your phone into us it's just slow.
Yeah.
So he said
it would be instantaneous. So I could send an email to you or a text message to you, Will, and it would
with
be
your head.
Instantaneous. You would get it instantly.
I just think it's so freaky, mate. Because he said
there's a difference, isn't there? There's a difference between us sitting in front of a laptop and having a phone, and actually having something inside our physical being.
Yeah.
Oh, 100%. 100%.
And isn't that like a next level jump?
Yeah.
It's a huge jump.
I don't know what it is. I know it's America, and a lot of people in America do a lot of things, but surely there needs to be, for him to be able to do that, a real conversation about how far we're going to allow technology to go.
Well, that's the thing, isn't it? It's going to come to the point where we don't evolve any further as humans. As soon as this happens, we'll start evolving with machines and do you know what I mean? We will become this new thing. As soon as that shit goes in you, where do you draw the line as human?
So, because I think, like, if you had this implant in your head, right, and you've lost a leg, and the trouble they're having is that there's no way for them to make anything that we could control to use as a normal leg. If you have this implant in your head, and they find a way to link this implant to
it'll be Bluetooth,
a mechanical leg or whatever, you could then move your leg in the way that you want it to through this device that's attached to your brain.
But for medical purposes, I think that there is a morality. In terms of morality, there is much more of an argument, because if you can stick something in your brain and the blind can see and the deaf can hear and the disabled can walk, then there's a real moral basis
argument for that
for that to happen. I mean, let's be honest. We're transplanting organs all the time. We're grafting skin from different people and blood from different people. The morality of that is definitely questionable if it doesn't have the premise of that it's making people better.
Yes,
but then how much further do you go when you stop curing people of illness?
And you just
how
start
much
doing
further can you go to just improving, in inverted commas, a human's life?
Yeah, well, it's a bit like plastic surgery, but the next level, I suppose.
It goes even further. He was saying that it will get to a stage where you can save your brain state.
Yeah.
So, like, you at the age of 15, you could save your brain state, get to 50, and then you'd be like, oh, I wonder what it was like to be 15 again, or how I was at 15, and then you could choose to revert back to your brain state.
Save data, yeah.
Like a save data.
How mentally damaging would that be?
Mate, that's what I mean. How fucking... I don't know if humans would literally be able to cope on a psychological level, because it's almost like everything you've ever known isn't real. Like, it's just so weird to me.
The thing that could happen would be, let's say you're about to die. You say, save me on backup. I'm going to die now. and they upload you to a computer, and you'd be back on this computer, and then you would be an entity, and then it's the question of
no.
Then you start you start questioning what life is then, because if you think about it, fire has the same properties as something that's alive. So it can reproduce, it feeds, it grows and dies. However, the difference between it is that the same fire, the fire that was started first and the 1 billionth fire are going to behave in exactly the same way. So they don't evolve. So it's not alive. Has the properties of life, but it's not alive. It's the whole... If I doubt, therefore I am. I can't remember who said that.
It just starts to get to the point of where reality would no longer be reality. Do you know what I mean? Like, you would literally start living in the Matrix because you could choose to live in it.
That's going to be the biggest challenge that comes upon the human race in the next 50 to 100 years is at what point do we limit this? Because, there is a theory that we are going to continuously develop new technologies until a point at which it begins to kill us effectively.
Yeah, because the point, I think the point is that AI can get so clever, blah 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 blah. But if it goes the other direction, where we have AI and we have human HI, human intelligence that we can put into machines. Imagine if you took like a pilot or a scientist or something like that, and you put them in a computer and then put them on a spaceship. They don't need to live. They can do everything that they would need to do, and they wouldn't need to survive because they're a computer.
The worry is,
and that's the point. Yeah. That's the debate, isn't it? Is do we allow that to happen as the human race, or is there going to be a limit for that? And that's probably, let's be honest. If we were talking about the next 50 to 100 years, we might not even have the basis of a planet to survive on. Maybe that debate isn't actually necessarily that important.
It's the extermination of the human race before we reach those points.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
Well, the worry is that the computers will get so smart that they'll realise how damaging we are for its environment. And what's that steak? Oh my lord! Sorry. It will get to the point where it starts to realise how damaging humans are for the earth. And then it would just start eliminating us.
Well, yeah, and but that is a perhaps slightly Hollywood view on what could happen. Not necessarily saying that that's incorrect, but it is quite a Hollywood view. And you would imagine, not that I am at all someone who is knowledgeable about technology, particularly in any sort of way, but you'd imagine that before we get to that point, we'll have a real think about it and go, right. Let's either stop at this point or let's ensure that
there's a fail-safe.
Well, there's
a fail-safe.
There's going to be something like that happening very, very soon. As soon as we're all coming out of lockdown, is anything going to change compared to what we have done?
I think it's got to. I think in the short term, things will be a lot more. People will be a lot more conscious. I think masks will be a lot more common to see. From now on,
anyway. Like the environment, like the state of the world has improved massively just from a few weeks in relation to.
I think they should do it every year.
And I think one of the key things is transport. I think people will be working from home a lot more, and therefore will perhaps attempt to use less personal transport, which is the real key thing. I'm hoping that people will have. Experienced, they've been forced to only go outside once a day, and so that has become really valuable to people. And hopefully, the walking and the cycling that have been forced upon people somewhat will be part of normal life a bit more. So what this lockdown has provided, which a lot of businesses have been desperate for, is a trial run of what it will be like in the future. Yeah, because basically, it's forced people to have to go away and work. Away from an office. And I know for a lot of businesses, the overheads of renting offices is the biggest expense.
Yeah.
And so now the fact that we can all work from home pretty successfully without really any problems, I know for a fact that the business that I work for will not work the same after this.
Yeah.
because we'll be working from home far more.
Because it might be that, right,
Yeah.
on Thursday, we need you all to come in for a meeting, we'll have a bit of a rundown or whatever, and then, you guys are in for 2 days this week, and you guys are in the other 2 days, and they work
or
it
even
like that.
I'll go in the morning and get a few bits done, but then I'll need to travel out somewhere to go and speak to someone, or to go and see something, or go and take pictures, and then the rest of the day I'll just come home and write from home. It is that is something that I think will happen far more than previously, and that's just talking about one absolutely tiny part of a massive sector of business, and we're not talking about. I'm not talking about loads of. Of course, what you do, John. You can't work from home, can you? So that's not going to change at all.
No.
Same with what I do.
Same with what Alex does. Absolutely. But then for
other businesses, 100%.
100%, I think it will.
Especially the admin side of businesses.
Yeah. Like realistically, if you're, I suppose HR, you probably need to see people. You need to see
a cashier, for instance. Unless you're handling actual money, you can have people handle that, and you can have everything sent online to the cashier at home.
We've also got to remember, however, that there is a very large sector of a aging population that will try and go back to exactly the way it was. This in my mind, cash has been irrelevant for a really long time. But in my mind, this should be the absolute final nail in the coffin for money. We don't need money. Money's irrelevant. If you live in Sweden, you don't have cash. You very, very rarely use money.
I never have cash.
But the problem is that we currently have an elderly generation. Granted that quite a few of
only use cash.
Yeah, but quite a few have been popped off by this whole coronavirus thing. But we've still got a massive generation of people over the age of, I don't know about your parents, but my parents are nearly 60 and they still use cash all the time.
Same.
Yeah, and that's another absolutely tiny thing out of a whole world of millions of aspects of daily life that may change. I hope it does, because I think cash is irrelevant and stupid, and I never want to fucking use it.
Well, in Sweden, young people are now getting their PIN or their chip implanted in their hand. So
I don't
when
agree
you
with
do,
that, hell no.
Yeah, so you'd have the Wi-Fi, the contactless, they just put the hand over the contactless.
Where in Sweden is this happening?
I think it was Sweden. I can't. Hang on. I'm going to have to... This is going to be another Google section.
Yeah. Like, the thing is that because I use my phone now, I don't need to take my wallet.
Don't even take your card.
There's literally no point in taking a wallet. Or you can do it on your watch.
Mm-hmm.
It is... And all of those sort of... We've spoken about in some degree how technology, the advancement of technology in the future could be quite a negative thing. But that sort of stuff I'm all for. Absolutely.
Yeah. It's easier, isn't it?
Carry less to lose, less to think about. Give me as little as possible, and I'll take it. But also don't fucking sew a microchip into my brain so that I can think
Sweden.
of the internet immediately.
I knew I was right. Hannah from Sweden had a microchip the size of a grain of rice implanted into her hand at the cost of £150. And believes her reasons for undergoing the procedure will resonate with many people. The lead biohacking firm in Sweden has inserted chips into about 5,000 people. The technology industry is following the technology's development.
If it was going to happen anywhere, it would be Sweden, to be fair.
Yeah.
They got the collider there, haven't they? Or was that Switzerland?
That's Switzerland.
Yeah,
it begins with an S, doesn't it? Yeah.
Same difference, isn't it?
Right, so I feel like we went into a very serious part
very
of the podcast.
serious part of the podcast, enjoyable. But it was good. I mean, it was a good debate.
Considering we've been going for nearly an hour now, whether we want to sort of curtail some of the rest of the stuff, because I mean that could have been John's theory of everything, really. Cool. All right.
So the last news story is there's recently been a banana sold for quite a substantial amount of money. How much money was this banana sold for?
A banana?
100k.
Oh, is it the actual fruit? Is it an actual fruit?
It's the actual
is it a banana?
Fruit.
Okay.
Here he is.
What happened there?
I don't know, mate. You lagged out, man.
You turned into a robot. Do you know what that was, man? That was fucking Elon Musk tapping into our conversation.
Someone said Neuralink. Find out who it is. These bitches. Yes, so it's an actual fruit. I'm going to say record. I don't believe a banana's ever been sold for more than 50 quid, so I'm going to say 50 quid.
Will was actually closest, £91,000.
Fucking hell. God, what's special about the banana then?
The banana was duct taped to a wall in an
I remember this.
Yeah.
Wasn't this a piss take as well?
No. It was.
No, this was the art.
It was solidly true. The artist Maurizio Catalan.
Yeah, I remember this.
Yeah, he's also the guy that made the solid gold toilet that was recently stolen.
Stolen from Blenheim Palace, mate.
They still haven't found the person
They
who stole it.
still haven't found
it's
it,
a fucking
mate.
solid gold toilet. Like, how did they steal it without being seen?
They stole it. Yeah, mate. Apparently they know. They think they know who it was. They think it was like some 65-year-old geezer as well.
No, the 66-year-old's been released.
Oh, it wasn't him.
No,
Jesus
they've arrested two more people. A sixth person has been arrested by the police who are looking for a solid gold toilet, and they still don't know who stole it.
How do you get away with a solid? Well, so let's be honest, that's been melted down now anyway. So they ain't gonna get the toilet back.
Completely melted down now.
That's they're not looking for that anymore.
You're not going to be able to.
You wouldn't
take that particularly easily because it's going to be so
heavy. Heavy, mate. So heavy.
£4.8 million pounds it was worth.
How did they release a 66-year-old? Was he bailed or was he under police investigation?
60-year-old was arrested on suspicion
I remember he was
of
just
burglary.
a suspect.
Was arrested on suspicion of conspiracy to burgle. No, and then it doesn't say what he was released on.
And what age were the two people that were arrested recently?
I didn't know they had two more.
No, it was there's been 6 people arrested now. The previous 5 was a 66-year-old man from Evesham, the 35-year-old man from Cheltenham, a 34-year-old woman, a 35-year-old man, and a 36-year-old woman, all from Oxford, were arrested on suspicion of conspiring to commit a burglary.
But no one actually got it.
Yeah, and the most recent one is a 35-year-old man from London was arrested on suspicion of handling stolen goods.
Jesus.
In police custody. But
that's interesting.
Yeah.
Because that sounds like they've perhaps strung it together a little bit because he wasn't involved. It doesn't sound like they think he was involved in the initial burglary or plans to burgle, but was involved in actually possessing the toilet at some point on its way to wherever it is now.
Yeah. But they took the whole fitting and everything, like the flush, the whole thing.
They took the whole thing.
Off,
yeah.
And
£4.8 million worth of gold is. Well, we think about how much it is for. You could probably work that out if you found out how much the pounds of gold is. You could probably figure out how heavy it is right now. But
yeah, it
was heavy.
If one of us was smart enough to do it, then we probably could. But
100%.
I mean, you'd arguably not be able to do it by hand.
Yeah, you have to have a sort of machine, right?
Have a machine to do it, perhaps.
But then how getting it?
I don't know how you get out of the palace with a bloody gold toilet. To be fair, although I suppose if no one's watching it and they think it's just because it was only there, it wasn't. It was only there as like an exhibition. It wasn't there like it wasn't always there. So they probably thought someone was just that was the time of it.
Well,
done
people
there
were invited to
it.
use it, like to use the toilet as a because it was working.
What? So you could shit in a
in a gold toilet, would you?
Yeah,
oh, definitely. I would not steal that toilet for shit. Literally, no pun intended.
Yeah, people were invited to use it.
No chance.
It's
Imagine leaving Skidders down the most expensive toilet in the world.
Oh my god!
But gold. Tell the grandkids, wouldn't it?
Yeah. Does gold tarnish quite easy from acidic things, or no? That's silver in it. So gold's usually all right. Yeah, I don't know
soft.
what you use.
But it's
Oh, fair enough.
I knew it had been stolen, but I did not know. Blimey, that is pretty incredible.
Yeah, it was. When was it? September last year, was it? Was stolen.
No, it was. I want to say it was longer than that ago. I'm pretty sure it was 2 or 3 years ago now. Let me have a look.
That's crazy.
It was. No, it was. It was. Oh no, that was when someone else got arrested. But yeah, no, it does look like it was like the past 2 years. Yeah,
That's
madness.
crazy, man.
18 carat, Jesus. There you go. It was. It's originally from America. There's a picture of it. Have you seen it? To be fair,
yeah,
that is a cool toilet.
I'm
You know
hoping
what?
That they,
I've gone back on it. I'd take that toilet.
I was hoping that they would have the weight of it in the article. You'd have thought that'd be a relatively basic. This reckons that it's 125,000 kilograms.
Yeah, I'd say that's probably more like it. It's probably nearly a ton.
I've got gold as 18 karat gold.
No,
45.
125,000 grams.
Yeah.
That is
So
divided by 100. So that's 1,000. That's 1.25 tons. That's a bit more realistic.
That's a bit more realistic. Oh,
all the same. All the same. What the takeaway from this is that it was really fucking heavy.
Yeah.
So they would have needed to either take it out in parts, but by the sounds of things,
it was solid, mate.
Yeah, I know, but like the seat could come off and the pipes and stuff at the back.
Yeah,
it was made of solid gold, but that doesn't mean the whole system was solid.
Yeah, and I suppose you could, if depending on how much time you had or what equipment you had, I suppose you could like screw off the seat lid.
Yeah.
And carry that individually, I suppose.
But also, you have to try and remember that they also managed to get it out before anyone realised the flooding, because obviously it was working. So it was just there was like flooding because of it. So they managed to get it out before anyone realised they'd taken it. Get it out without anyone realising they'd taken it, and get it out before they realised that it was missing.
Madness, mate.
Yeah,
that is madness. Fair play. That's going to be a film in a couple of years, isn't it?
Yeah, it is definitely. Be a comedy as well, because who steals a shitter? Do you know what I mean?
It will be a comedy, won't it?
Yeah. All right, then. I've got a couple of fun facts.
All right.
Just for lighten the mood a bit. Give it a bit of thing. So, right, here we go. So, during the early 1960s, there was a chimpanzee named Lucy who was raised as if she were a human daughter by a psychotherapist and his wife. She ate food using cutlery, wore clothes, enjoyed magazines, enjoyed drinking gin, could sign 250 words, and tried to masturbate with a vacuum cleaner.
I suppose if you ain't got anything else around, you know, you've got to make do, haven't you?
Why not? I just thought that was brilliant because I was reading it. I was like, oh, this is really interesting. And then I got to the last one and I was like, yep, that's going in. Right.
Well, fair enough. I suppose that'd be probably quite adequate companions.
Each to their own.
There's also a woman that lived with a dolphin inside her house as well.
I thought you were going to say inside of it. I was like, how?
No, there was things that she was having sex with it, but apparently she had a dolphin that lived.
Well, dolphins are smart. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, no, I did read that story. It wasn't. So supposedly the woman wasn't actually having sex with the dolphin, in terms of actual like penetration, but the dolphin would like rub up against her until it would conclude its sexual.
No way, that's hilarious.
Activity, yeah.
So it would just rub on it until it's baffed, basically, in layman's terms.
Yeah.
There you go. There you go. Here we go. So here's another one. When Jeff Bezos spends $1.7 million, it is equal to an average American spending $1.
Oh mate, it's dreadful.
That's just too much money for one man.
Yeah.
When there comes a point where he goes, because he could help so many people. Like he could literally keep 30 billion. He's on his way to become a trillionaire. Or even 30 billion's too much. 1 billion. And then I'm sure, I don't even know if there's countries that are worth $1 trillion.
Oh no, there certainly will be some countries that will be worth less than Jeff Bezos. 100%.
Yeah, madness.
So he could buy his own country essentially.
There's too much
if
power
they were for sale.
man.
Yes, I suppose he could.
Yeah,
but it's astounding the amount of money. But isn't it? I can't remember the facts, but is it not true that like the 6 wealthiest people in the world are as rich as the rest? Because above Jeff Bezos, the people that own like central banks in major companies, major countries will be worth more. I mean,
but they're not named, are they?
Yeah, well, yeah, there'll be families rather than people, I suppose.
Yeah.
But it's incredible, and that is without wanting to get overly political. That is what capitalism aims for, and that is what it achieves. And yeah, you think about the number of people that could be helped by that. And don't get me wrong, I'm certain that Bill Gates and all of those type of people do help charities to a certain degree. But so apparently Jeff Bezos' net worth is 116.9 billion. So, which is just barbaric, right?
Ridiculous. I mean, like, if
I'm interested to see how much money he would be able to give each person in the UK.
If you think about it, between us three, he could pay us a comfortable 60 grand a year for the rest of our lives, and it wouldn't even touch the surface.
Yeah. No way, mate, it wouldn't even be a dent. It would not even. That wouldn't even cost him
a small change.
Yeah, nothing. I don't even think that'd be 1.7 million.
He could probably pay us. My brain quite struggles to comprehend.
It's almost like
that amount of anything, let alone money.
It's almost like if someone said to you, "Can you pay me a penny a year?" You'd go, "Yeah." So is it worth emailing him and say, "Look"?
Yeah, but imagine how many emails he gets.
Can you just pay me 60 grand a year for the rest of my life, please, so I can live?
Population of...
Because it would be equal to someone asking us if we would pay them like a penny a year.
No, it's just mine boggles.
Right, well, my calculator,
on
my phone, my calculator doesn't allow the right amount of numbers to work it out.
There you go. Then.
That shows how it's just ridiculous, right?
Well, while you work that out, I'll give you two more, as we've only got a couple of minutes left.
Yeah.
So, I'll leave... Oh, I've got two. So, if the movie Finding Nemo was scientifically accurate, Nemo's dad would have become female after Nemo died. Nemo's mom died.
Yeah.
Then he would have mated with his son.
Yeah.
Yeah,
there you go.
Probably.
Yeah, because they're a bit like zebrafish. They will change their sex. So it's always the female, and the female's bigger as well. So all clownfish that inhabit anemones solely are female, and those that go to find partners are male. And when they find a partner, they will be male. But if they die, then they end up turning into the female.
They turn into the female.
Male comes along, yeah.
They just love incest, don't they? The animal kingdom's just a bit messed up.
And zebrafish do the same thing. There's a really interesting study where you can put a load of male or female zebrafish together, and they end up, over a period of weeks, becoming half and half split populations. So within the same tank, you've kept the same fish, and you'll have 50% female, 50% male.
Damn. Yeah. That's it. Go on then, Will. What you hit us with?
So, I think I'm struggling with the zeros here because this doesn't work so well. But I reckon he could give every single person in the UK near enough $2,000. And still...
Oh, fuck me.
And still have money left over, or what?
Well, that's his estimated net worth. So his net worth will actually be higher than that.
Yeah. Well, he's on his way to be a trillionaire. So.
Yeah.
And here we go. The last one I've got for you.
Yeah.
In Texas, you can legally carry more than 6 guns. However, it is illegal to be in possession of 6 or more dildos.
They've got the priorities straight, haven't they, over there?
Only in Texas.
Because it's hilarious, that, isn't it? It's hilarious that you're allowed to carry 6 items which their sole purpose is to cause harm or injury to a person. You're not allowed to carry 6 items which their sole purpose is to provide pleasure.
And happiness to people, yeah.
And yet you can have 12 tigers in your back garden.
Yeah, it doesn't make any sense.
It just doesn't make sense. That's Texas for you.
Yeah.
So honestly, I struggle to understand carrying a weapon. Like, if someone
Yeah.
gave me a gun, a real life gun right now, I would feel weird holding it.
Yeah,
Because-
I think I've never held a gun before. Well, I've held a like a pellet
It's a lot
rifle.
of power. It's a lot of power to have in your hand.
Yeah, I've never held one
range.
before. So I mean, recreation ones, like old muskets and stuff. In when we had those days at schools and shit, like I've held stuff like that, but never an actual gun that would fire bullets. I haven't ever held one, and I feel like I don't know what I would. I don't know.
Because John, I know that you did like a shooting range thing when you went to America.
I
When
did.
when they first gave you that gun,
Yeah.
did you think in your head, I could turn around and
shoot.
kill you
Yeah,
now?
yeah. Literally, it's the first thing I did when I had it in my hand. It's such a strange thing. It comes into your head and you go, I could literally kill everyone here right now. It's scary.
It's so easy, and it's not even like you have to plunge a knife into someone.
No,
you
it's
literally
just
pull your
fish.
finger an inch.
Oh my
That
God.
to me is just scary.
Yeah,
It is scary. I'll end it on this. Boys, thank you. It's been a good one. Yeah, I ain't going to do a funny accent this week. Just everybody likes Texas. Steaks in Texas. Elvis Presley was from Texas.
love it. Well, thanks for listening, everybody.
Yeah, and like and subscribe and do all
All
that
the
kind
We
of
rest
want,
of
shit.
we
it,
want
please.
30 subscribers by next week. That's what we want.
30. Big it up. Bye.